morning. This is the very first book that I read in May 2024, and this is The Secret History by Donatat. I finished off reading like 2 days ago, but then I was kind of postponing things to create the video. But then in the morning, like out of the blue, I was like, I need to do this, right? So let's talk about The Secret History by Donatat. So this book, it has not yet left me because once you read it, it sticks with you. So this is very captivating. The style of writing is very captivating, and when you start reading, it becomes very addictive because you wait to read the rest of the book. Right. So this is the genre-wise. I would consider this as a thriller, crime, mystery, and basically it's dark academia, which is quite very popular these days. So those who love dark academia, I would rather recommend this. This is very well written, and out of I think for a long time I haven't seen this much of darkness, and at the same time it makes you read anyways. Like it's not disturbingly dark. That's what I mean. I mean it's disturbing, but at the same time, it's not that disturbing because it keeps you reading. So the language is I feel that it's a bit quite a little poetic too, but then it's really really beautiful. And then so the audience wise, those who have, I would say, I would recommend this to anybody who loves reading, and at the same time those who love literature and classical studies, classics, Greek and Roman culture, literature, basically those who love those, right? And at the same time, you might, like when you read, you might find it a little too boring sometimes because the paragraphs are quite lengthy, and there are certain pages on which you see a chunk, like a print, like letters all over the page. But still, one thing very characteristic of Donatat's writing, I guess, would be it doesn't, like, even though the print appears on the entire page, it doesn't bore you to death. Like it's that well written, right? So so the vocabulary is high flown because I think those who are willing to read this, you might have to have quite a wide vocabulary to understand, and some understanding regarding Greek and Roman culture, the mythology, literature, basically literature, English literature, and whatever which is touched upon in literature, all that, right? And at the same time, the book is in first narrative, like first person narrative. So it's Richard, one of the characters who narrates the story. So I don't want to tell you the story because there's nothing, as like it's like basically providing you the trailer of the entire book. So I'm not willing to do it because that takes away your interest in reading this, because I'd rather, like, if you read, because even if this is a bit difficult to understand for a person who's not into reading much in literature, I would rather recommend this, right? So this is very rich in imagery, visual, basically visual imagery. This is set in America, and since it's dark academia, it's set in a university, a college, and at the same time, psychology wise, certain aspects of psychology that are covered here would be types of guilt. I feel like natural guilt, and then there are types of guilt like chronic guilt, collective guilt, toxic guilt, all of that. So, and at the same time, this shows how the trajectory of each person's life changes over time, and it's very difficult to withhold the story from you. But then, yeah, I'm not going to tell you the story, but then you need to read. And like I said earlier, even though it's dark academia, it's not that disturbing. I don't know, it's not disturbing, but the characters are characters, like there are certain characters which would blow your mind, and you're like, what just happened, right? But at the same time, they're very well developed. I think Donatat has that what do you call it, the talent, or the writing style that takes the very character, the true character, the core of the character out, and it makes the book more like a movie. So I think this book deserves a movie, right? And at the same time, what catches you the most is the prologue of the story. Like as soon as you open up, yeah, like before the first chapter, there's a prologue, and then you find somebody's dead. Bunny's dead, and you're like, what? Who's Bunny? Right? So it creates a lot of curiosity, And then out of all the characters that we have in the book, like Julian, Professor Julian, and then Richard, the narrator, and then Henry, Francis, and then Charles and Camilla, all of those characters, out of them, I love Richard, the narrator. I mean, I don't know, he's the one who bears the brunt of everything at the very end, whereas he was just a stranger who entered this community of the rest of the people. But he had to, go through the catastrophic events at the very end of the book, right? And then so that's that. I wanted to make the video like very short because I had to run to attend certain other things as well for the day. But at the same time, I would rather recommend that you read it because this is very popular these days. Like those who are into reading, they read The Secret History by Donna Tartt. This is first, I saw this book and I had this on my list, but at the same time, there's this one of my students who is a friend now who, recommends me certain books like Dimanta. So she's like, why don't you read this? Like after I created my last video where I said that I love the Song of Achilles, and then Dimanta was like, okay, you need to read this, and she recommended me this, and I was like, I told her I have it on my list already. So get it, read it. I think those who are into reading the hard copy, I read the ebook actually, but then those who are into reading hard copies only, you can get the book from Jump Books, and at the same time CGA Books, they have it. I saw the list, they are pre-ordering, so you can place the orders, get the book and read, right? You're gonna enjoy it because I enjoyed it. Like I couldn't sleep until I read the rest of the book, right? So find it and read it. We'll, probably I would take a single book next, right? Okay, see you.